Hey guys, welcome to the Common Sense Football Show and welcome to today's show. Today we're going to be recapping yesterday's Champions League's games, and we're also going to be talking about if Manchester City can win the treble, and we're going to briefly talk about today's Champions League games. So first things first, yesterday's games, I'm very happy, so I got my predictions right. Inter Milan beat Benfica, which I predicted, and also Manchester City beat Bayern Munich, which I also predicted. So that's always a good thing. First things first, let's talk about Manchester City versus Bayern. Up until the Rodri goal was pretty much an even game. Leroy Sané and Ederson were having their own little private duel. Leroy Sané playing really well, dribbling, cutting in, licking off shots with his left foot. Really impressive by Leroy Sané, but Ederson was also very equal to all of Leroy Sané's efforts. And then, to be honest with you, the Rodri goal just came out of nowhere. His first Champions League goal, an amazing distance effort that swerved into the top corner. Really impressive by City. Sommer, the Bayern Munich goalkeeper, he was also, even though he looked a bit culpable, he looked a bit edgy and like he was making some mistakes, but if it weren't for him, the scoreline would have been worse. The scoreline would have been worse than 3-0. So he had about 3-4 pretty vital saves, but Manchester City were really impressive. No one anticipated that they would be able to dominate Bayern Munich how they did, even though they were at home. I thought they would win, but no one thought that they would dominate Bayern Munich how they did. And Manchester City, they look really, really impressive, really ominous, and they're just clicking like right now. I mean, you got to give Pep Guardiola a lot of credit. He seems to figure it out. Nathan Ake on the left, he's brought John Stones playing the midfield with Rodri. Really impressive, and all of those Manchester City players played really well. Grealish was always a threat. You know, Grealish is justifying that 100 million price tag. I've always been a fan of Jack Grealish. Very, very talented player. Haaland scoring again. You know, I think his 45th goal of the season. Fantastic. And I think Bernardo Silva was the other goal scorer with a bullet header. That Sommer couldn't keep up. To be a really, really complete defensive and attacking performance by Manchester City, and that's going to send shockwaves all through Europe. In the return leg next week, Bayern Munich can beat City, but can they beat City by 4-0, 5-0 without City scoring? I don't think so. The tie looks pretty much done, and I think that Manchester City have got 1 foot into the semi-finals, and you know the way they're playing, it's going to send shockwaves through Europe because they're playing really well. From an Arsenal perspective, I'm glad they're through because I want them to be fighting on all 3 fronts, so that maybe their eyes come off the ball in the Premier League, and that gives Arsenal the opportunity that they're going to need to clinch the Premier League title. You know, Manchester City being in the FA Cup and the Champions League, that's more in Arsenal's interests. Fixture congestion, like I've mentioned before, and also the fact that they may be distracted by those other competitions. So, as long as Arsenal do their jobs and keep winning the rest of their games, and Bayern Munich are concentrating and fighting on 3 fronts, that may open up an opportunity for Arsenal to clinch the league, while Manchester City are trying to win the Champions League, which is the holy grail for them. But yeah, that was a really good game yesterday, and you have to give Manchester City their flowers. You know, they're clicking just at the right time. The other game was Benfica versus Inter Milan. That was a really good game. 50-50 game, as I anticipated it would be, but I did think that Inter Milan would have a bit too much know-how, and also, you know, their attacking players are better than Benfica's. Lautaro played up front with Dzeko, and Lukaku came on, and again he scored, and again he made an impact coming off the bench. Barella scored the opening goal for Inter Milan, and Lukaku coming on and scoring a penalty. Fantastic, really good away performance by Inter Milan. Perfect away performance, clean sheet, 2 goals. Onana, the Inter Milan goalkeeper, was absolutely phenomenal. couple of really, really top saves, keeping Benfica at bay and making sure that Inter Milan had kept a clean sheet. Onana was a goalkeeper that Arsenal were interested in, but I think he was banned. He was banned at the time, and then they had to wait, and it was a bit complicated. But then Inter Milan went and got him for free, and Arsenal got Ramsdale. So we both got top keepers. But I think Inter Milan are going to have one foot in the semi-finals, and that's really good for Italian football, because in the quarter-finals you've got 3 Italian teams: Napoli, AC Milan, and Inter Milan in the quarterfinals, and they're pretty much guaranteed at this precise moment in time to have 2 Italian teams in the semis. That's not been talked about enough. That's really, really good from Italian football, and we could be seeing a little bit of a renaissance in Italian football. Sort of the Italian big clubs coming back and fighting for those European titles again. So, can Manchester City win the treble? It's definitely on. Some Manchester City fans and some pundits are getting carried away, but the way Manchester City are playing is definitely on. Manchester United can stop them in the FA Cup, providing that they both go through to the finals. And, there's a number of teams that can stop City in the Champions League. Napoli, Real Madrid, even Inter Milan. You don't know what could happen in a knockout competition. And then you've got Arsenal and City scrapping it out for the Premier League. So can they win the treble? Yes, of course. Will they win? Yet to be seen. It's very hard to do. Manchester United have done it. And the thing that confuses me is that there's so many Manchester United fans that I know that really want City to win the league over Arsenal, which I don't understand, because I've told some of my Manchester United fans, and you know who you are if you're watching, you know who you are. I've told some of my United friends that that City could win the treble. You do know that. They could match what you man did. And you really want that to happen, do you? You should want Arsenal to win the league so that your rivals, your next door neighbours, don't have a chance of winning the treble. So when you're slagging off Arsenal and you're not wanting Arsenal to win the league, and you're bantering if we have a little slip up, remember that City could win the treble and match what you man did in 99. Keep that in mind. Do I think they're going to win the treble? No, I don't. I don't think they're going to win the treble. I think that all the fixtures are going to catch up with them, to be honest with you, because that's what has happened. When Man United won the treble, they had a lot of luck along the way. I mean, the final against Bayern, those 2 stoppage time goals, and the fact that Bayern just couldn't finish them off. They dominated the game for 90 minutes and they couldn't finish them off. Sheringham, Solskjaer come on and score 2 stoppage time goals. Luck. You make your luck. They deserve the treble, but it was luck. So you need a lot of luck along the way to be a champion, to accomplish these things, and especially to win a treble. You need a lot of luck. So let's see what happens. Some City fans are getting carried away. Some pundits get carried away. Some City fans are not getting carried away and they're keeping their feet firmly on the ground. So let's see what happens. Manchester City fight on all 3 fronts, get knackered, blow the Premier League, Arsenal win, happy days for us. So today, we've also got 2 Champions League games, which include AC Milan versus Napoli, which is going to be a fantastic game, and Real Madrid versus Chelsea. First things first, let's talk about Milan versus Napoli. Like I've mentioned, Osimhen is injured. Kvaratskhelia is playing, so he's a phenomenal player, and they're probably going to play their second striker, Diego Simeone's son, in place of Osimhen. I do think that Napoli will be seeking revenge after the 4-0 beating they took from Milan in recent weeks. So, like I've said, if Napoli turn up and play to their full capabilities, I think that they'll beat Milan. And I've got my money firmly on Napoli to have too much for them in the first leg and over 2 legs. Chelsea versus Real Madrid. This game is going to be a lot of banter. I'm looking forward to seeing the reactions and the highlights and the pundits after Real Madrid spanked Chelsea. I've got a feeling it's going to be pretty embarrassing. Chelsea are coming off the loss to Wolverhampton. They've sacked Potter. They've got this rubbish manager, Lampard, now in situ. They would have been better off keeping Graham Potter until the end of the season and then getting the manager that they wanted in for the long-term basis, whether that be Nagelsmann, whether that be Luis Enrique. But instead, the clueless hierarchy sacked Potter, got in an even more shitter manager. Potter's not shit, by the way, but Lampard is. And now they're trying to get into the semi-finals of the Champions League, and it ain't gonna happen. And you can see by the way I'm talking about it, it's just the stupidity is sort of done in my head. I can't understand it. I can't get my head around it. It's just so strange to me. Potter deserved a chance to, lead Chelsea in a knockout game in the quarterfinals, because he's got them to this point. And despite their domestic form, they were playing really well in Europe. But, it is what it is. They know best. Any Chelsea fans, your hierarchy is going to ruin your club. Chelsea are going to get beat tonight, and they're going to get beat next week. And it'll be interesting to see what the scoreline is going to be over the 2 legs. I do anticipate a thumping, and, let's see what happens. So that concludes today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow. Again, I appreciate all the support. Please smash the like, subscribe, share the channel, and I'll see you guys for the next one.